And another season of the NBA on ESPN is underway.
Let's go!
Deep three. Tyler Hero. Oh, he hit it.
We have a liftoff.
Leonard.
We have been waiting since February 23rd.
Who's that guy?
Back on the court.
Who is that guy?
Gary doesn't even know who he is. Kevin Durant is back after 23 games being out. Wow.
So good to see him.
Pelicans versus the Brooklyn Nets. Where Brooklyn at? They're right here. That's at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Hi, welcome to Hoop Streams. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the ESPN app.
Yeah.
Christine Williamson. I got two friends with me, Gary Streisky, Trevor Scales. What's good?
We in this thing, chilling, cold chilling.
We are not doing as well as Nets fans will likely be doing tonight, welcoming back their star numero uno, even though James Harden is like tapping out while
Correct.
KD is tapping in. But at any rate, they're still atop the East C-Dub, so things going well in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that matchup with Roz Goldon-Woode later in the show. We also have Shea Serrano joining us, so it's a great show. Before we get to that, let's get into some NBA Rewind. We will start with biggest flex.
Oh, let's do it.
I'm
this
here for
one,
it.
it's just a slight flex, I feel like. Shaq decided to pay
Oh, this
for
this is crazy.
somebody, okay, first of all, this man's getting engaged.
Yep.
Engagement rings are expensive, right, Trev?
Yes!
So
where was Shaq?
would have walked into the jewelry store and paid for your engagement ring, I feel like that would have been extremely
Gary stole my joke. I was about to ask where Shaq was when I had to drop mine. I would have appreciated it. Would have been nice.
But, Trevor, obviously you were more than happy to drop a bag of Roni.
Yes, but she and I
just
both
wanted
know it would have been nice to put elsewhere.
Shout out to you. But yeah, I bet if you didn't have to pay for it. That could have gone towards your wedding.
For free? Yes.
Right. All right, well, sorry about it. Biggest heart. Isaiah Thomas is back in action after signing a 10-day contract with the Pels. In his New Orleans debut, he dropped 10 points in 25 minutes versus the Hawks.
Hey man, shout out to that man getting shots up as soon as he got back to the court. Like he was here to make up for lost time, all that time away from the NBA. Good for him, man.
Yeah, I love this story, and we're going to get into it later. But, I mean, this guy was on the precipice of signing while he was in Boston and absolutely leading that team. There were talks of signing him to a max extension. We're talking like 3 commas in the deal, and now he's like on a 10-day contract. So it's good to see IT continuing to persevere now on his umpteenth team since that point.
Be careful with 3 commas because that's like $1 billion, but just one.
Hey, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. They were talking about giving IT a $1 billion contract. You weren't there for that?
I remember that. Yes, that did happen. No, it didn't, but it's great to see Isaiah Thomas back. All right, let's move on to worst ejection. Lakers versus the Raptors. This is last night. Think
Hey, that was a billion?
This is actually ridiculous. Gary doesn't know math. We've already established that. This was ridiculous. OG Anunoby and Schroeder. This turned into a whole.
Right. So Dennis hard foul tries to keep Anunoby up. Then Anunoby, was he trying to like slam him or
Yeah,
just like?
definitely.
Oh, for sure.
But peep his mannerisms after everything pops off. He's like, no, I was chilling. So I don't know how to decipher any of that.
Honestly, though, shout out to Gary Trent Jr. for being the person to go in there and break things up. It's just another example of a Gary stepping in at the right moment. Not enough credit is given to Gary's across the board.
When you started saying that, I was like, okay. I guess.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Gary Trent Jr.
Bizarro Patty Mills.
Anyways, all right. After Drew Holiday signed a 4-year, $135 million extension with the Bucks.
Cash money, and this is big money. Follow me. So as I said, this is cash money, and this is big money.
Big money.
Big money right here. Hey.
Do we remember what happened like 3 months ago? Woo. Do we remember what he signed for?
Biggest ever? $250 million? Like the biggest ever, I think. $250 million, I think.
Look at him. Look at his face.
Like, this isn't about me.
Yo, I love how big Drew Holiday's eyes were.
Because, yes, how you going to call me big money and you sitting on a $250 million?
Oh, he got a 3-comma deal? That's crazy. That's crazy. No, but seriously, that dollar does go further in Wisconsin. Basically, like triple each dollar.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. Not bad
It's
whatsoever.
just a little bit of change. Change. All right, following the Knicks' 2-point loss to the Nets Monday night, Julius Randle's son was not happy to see Daddy lose, and he was even angrier to see anything that was Nets related.
You hate who? I hate those. You hate them? It's okay.
Raise your child right. Be like him. That's what I'm here for.
And that is on changing culture. All right? If this was last season, nobody cares. The Knicks aren't in the playoff conversation. This year, they're in the thick of it. From the youngest to the oldest, it just means more. Take what the SEC says and stamp it on Knicks merchandise. It just means more this season.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I love it. I love it.
Don't get too excited though, Nick. I'm sorry.
Wow.
For your safety, protect your heart. I have to do it too. It's
Get excited.
It makes sense. All right, best chemistry. We got Pistons Nuggets last night. Check out the display of absolute unselfishness from Nikola Jokic.
And Aaron Gordon.
It's his new teammate.
Well, Aaron Gordon was also underneath the basket. He's like, "What you give me the ball for? What I'm gonna do with this?"
He cracked a smile too. He's like, "Come on, man.
He's
One
like,
too
I just
many."
want to be your friend. I just want to show you that I'm here for you. Yeah, he was not going to do anything with that.
Correct.
No.
Good though. Hey, sounds different.
All right, best vibe. Lakers, Clippers.
Oh, we got most drip alert? Oh,
Most drip.
what?
Serge Ibaka.
Oh my goodness.
Come through.
Listen.
Man, hey.
Here's the thing about Serge. I've been obsessed with this guy. What?
Please.
I've been obsessed with this guy's drip for a very long time. He's always on point, always pushing the envelope.
Sure.
Always ahead of the curve.
Sure.
So, I mean.
Okay, but see, here's the thing, right? I wear vertical stripes to help myself look taller. Serge ain't got to do that. Serge already daggone near 7 feet tall, so what are we doing?
That's a
He
cheat
looks
code?
good.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute cheat code.
He looks good.
In any case, I think we got somebody else to add to this party. Christine, what's happening?
All right, we now welcome in NBA Twitter legend Shea Serrano and a New York Times bestselling author of books such as The Rap Yearbook and Basketball and Other Things and more amazing titles. Shea, I'm going to ask you a Twitter question to start this thing off. We saw this question on Twitter. It says, who wins a one-on-one? You with LeBron's build and athleticism, but your basketball skills? Or LeBron with his basketball skills, but your build and athleticism?
LeBron is 6'9", 6'8", 250. That's too big. I'm 5'7". He's 6'9". That's too big of a differential.
You would have his
It doesn't matter. You know what this is like when you would be at football practice and the fast guys would be all bouncing around, but then they would make you do that drill where you're in the tunnel and you can only go straight.
Oklahoma, baby.
Yeah, that one. I didn't do in middle school football. After we did that one time, I was like, I quit the football team. This is horrible. So I couldn't remember the name. But if I was as big as LeBron, that's what this basketball game turns into. I just get the ball, and 6'9" is too big. Like you can't do anything. You got to hit him with a 2x4 if they're that much bigger than you are.
That makes sense. Okay, so another hypothetical: Zion Williamson versus Shaq. Who wins that one-on-one?
Oh, Shaq. We're talking 2001 Shaq?
Right, yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
The most dominant force ever in basketball. I hated Shaq. And I'm in San Antonio. The Lakers and Spurs, that's like our biggest rivalry ever. But young Shaq, 2001 Shaq, there's nothing that can be done. He gets the ball, it's over. Look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's on Yao Ming.
Exactly. Like it goes back to him being 7'1", right? Like he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Like it's cool that Zion can jump to the top of the backboard or whatever, but Shaq is Shaq. He's Shaq.
Shaq is Shaq.
There's a reason he's on like a first name basis with like the world. James Harden pivoting just a little bit. He's getting a mural down in Brooklyn.
This is not surprising at all.
Wanted to know your thoughts on how deserving he is of that as of now.
Wait, who's getting the mural? I missed the beginning.
James Harden.
Oh, yeah, paint him up. Go nuts. Go nuts. Like he's one of the 5 best basketball players on the planet. And when he shows up, paint a picture of him. Go for it.
I was not expecting that because it's far too soon, even though he is absolutely spinning right now for the Nets, even though KD coming back. And he's like, no, this is my team now. They're going to take this mural down and put up KD. I think they forgot KD's on the team.
It's not too soon when you have one of the best basketball players on the planet. That should have been up like during the recruiting. Just throw it up there.
That's actually a fair point.
What are we waiting for?
If you position the question like that, it starts to make sense for me. All right, Shea, anybody who's familiar with you on Twitter knows you love 2 things. 1, being Mexican and eating Mexican food on the weekends, especially.
All right.
And 2, hoops, right? So let me ask you, and 3, dropping pearls of wisdom on Twitter such as this. So we want to take some of your most prolific and profound tweets, and you tell us who you're assigning these to. Shoot your shot today. Who on the Nets are you telling that to?
Oh, to Kyrie. Always to Kyrie. Did you see the shot that he hit, the double clutch over the 2 defenders?
God, yes.
And the guy, okay. Kyrie is always shooting his shot. I love basketball Kyrie. He's awesome.
I'm going to hit you with this one more. Keep going.
All right.
You're closer than you think. You're going to get there. I'm trying to be dramatic in that, but you can do a better job since you're the one who crafted it.
No, you read that great. That was awesome. You know who I'm going to give this to? I'm going to give this to DeJounte from my beloved San Antonio Spurs. He is on the path. He's going to be the guy. It's really exciting to watch. Keep going, DeJounte. You're gonna get there. You're gonna be the guy.
All right, finally, we got one more inspirational tweet from yourself. Help someone else get a W. I promise it won't take away your W's. Who is this for?
This is going to whoever the Spurs are playing. Help us win. I just want to be in the playoffs this year. That's all that I want. I don't care about it. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about any other teams or players. Help us.
Just in case anybody wasn't clear or wasn't already familiar with Shea Serrano, an avid San Antonio fan. Just want to put that out there in case people have been living under a rock the last 2 decades.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us, Shea. We have enjoyed all of your wisdom and your tweets. It's great.
Be safe.
Is this you getting repeatedly dunked on by your friends because of lackluster sports knowledge?
Let your brother Stephen A. Smith come in here and help you out a little bit.
Start your day with Get Up and First Take. Feel free to use our takes.
And shame your friends.
Get up with us at 8 a.m. Eastern.
When your sentence starts with, I agree with Dan or Olaf, you're wrong.
Followed by First Take at 10 a.m.
Listen, you're the guy. I had to teach you this. Giannis is the best player in the world. 4 days later, he's number 5 because I kept telling you he can't shoot.
And remember, always do the dunking.
All right, we got you. You're watching Hoop Streams, getting you ready for the Pels versus the Net. That guy, he back. He hasn't been back since February 13th. That's been a long, long time. He played just 7 games alongside Kyrie and James Harden this season, and only 19 of the Nets' 51 this far. Tonight will be the first action KD sees with his new teammates, Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. He's averaging 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists per game on the year, and the Nets are 12-7 with KD in the lineup. Guys, what do you expect to see in KD's return?
A very smooth jumper, as we see in their warm-up shot. I think above all else, we know that this man is going to come to play offensively. He will get his shot, he will create his own, and he will cash in on said shots. I just worry about defensively. Like, where does this go for KD? We know that not only was he already kind of hamstrung, no pun intended, when it came to what he was able to do defensively just because of a, lag and everything like that from the injury last season, but what exactly is that flow going to look like from a team defensive standpoint?
And we've seen the Nets obviously flourish without KD. He hasn't played since early February, and they're still tied atop the East with the Sixers, and that's with them not being at full strength. And there's only a handful of players, if that, in the league that can be away from the game for 2 months and rejoin whatever variation of their team that is currently constructed and hit the ground running. And you're looking at one of them right there.
Right.
Kevin Durant, the best pure scorer in the game. It's going to continue. He averages 29 points, and I don't see any inefficiencies so long as he actually is healthy. And Trevor, you can speak to just how much a hamstring kind of lingers, but I just don't see anything offensively hampering him. To your point, defensively, yes, but we know the Nets, they're not the rough and tumble, Brooklyn Nets of defensive mindset. So, yeah, they're going to get to running with the Pelicans. Young, fun, it's going to be a good game. But, KD's going to get his. We all know that.
Without question. Without question.
And James Harden obviously not playing tonight. Is that disappointing? We haven't really seen
Hell yeah, that's disappointing.
his team at full strength literally all season.
They played a handful of games together. And when they acquired James Harden from the Rockets, it was like, oh, my gosh, this big three. Now, whether it's a byproduct of them, again, James Harden tapping out while KD taps in, just a matter of convenience. But, people want to see that. The NBA needs to see that. The NBA needs to have their superstars on a whole nother level, play more consistent games together. It's why we tune in. We hate the storylines of the big three, but there's just 2/3 of them for right now. It's just not consistent.
Wildest part about that, right, even though we're only getting 2/3 of said big three, is that they are still winning at alarming rates, right? Regardless of what two of those three are on the floor, they tend to just find a way. And when they are on the floor, I think they're like a little bit below 500. So it's not even too crazy of a drop-off. This team is just something that is special. Steve Nash is a good thing going, and we'll see what they can do when it comes to making this stretch run if they can get everybody on the court at the same time.
Kyrie, help me.
We'll talk a little bit more Pels versus Nets very shortly. Before that, how about New Orleans versus Brooklyn, Trev?
Appreciate it, Christine. Gary and I know you're usually used to us talking straight hoops, X's and O's, because that's what you come to us for. But we're going to pivot a little bit. We got Brooklyn and we got New Orleans, and we are focusing on those cities, Gary.
I will take my NBA expert analysis hat off for this.
Put it aside.
And become more of a social savant, if
I
you will.
like that. I like that. So let's get right into a comparison between the two cities.
Because we've been to both very recently, so here we go.
Not too recently, there's a pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
But food, where are you going, New Orleans or Brooklyn?
There's no drama in this. It's New Orleans. Matter of fact, you and I got treated to one of the best meals in our lives. And that was quite honestly one of the only benefits of. You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to get into that much detail, but it was very good. What did you like about it? The bananas Foster.
I just think, yes, everything being deep fried down there is going to hit with me, right? And then you move into the seafood. You got that Gulf Coast flavor with the crawfish, the etouffee, whatever you daggone well, please. It's there for you in New Orleans, and it is delicious.
I made the mistake of calling a beignet a bag net initially. I was quickly corrected by Kendrick Perkins while we were on the street.
Get your French game up, Gary. Next up, the mascot between the Pelicans and Nets.
Yeah, I'm staying in New Orleans because what the hell is the Nets mascot? I think it's some variation of an old kind of warrior-ish type thing. At least I know what a pelican is.
He's also
look at this.
But see, that's Brooklyn's, right? And so when I looked up the mascots for Brooklyn, that dude is cold.
What is it?
I don't know. He's just associated with the Brooklyn Nets. He's called the Brooklyn Knight. He comes out every now and again. But dog, I mean, that's a clean look. The pelican is kind of scary. And then, the baby king cake, I think, was associated with also terrifying.
It's called tradition, baby. And I'm going to tell you right now, Batman would annihilate the Brooklyn Knight.
Okay.
That's copyright infringement if I've ever seen it, all right?
City Edition jerseys. Where are we going?
I am going with Brooklyn on this one. And I know you like, obviously, the most recent version. They had me at the Bed-Stuy just a couple years ago, paying homage to Notorious B.I.G. with the Coogee trim. Obviously, this season.
Jean-Michel Basquiat did his thing. Like a black artist that came through and obviously has that little splash of color along the side. Also did his thing with the court as well. The fleur-de-lis with the New Orleans City Edition, right? The three different fleur-de-lis at the top. I don't know. It just don't do much for me. I think it's a little plain. I think we could do better. So, I'm going to slide with Brooklyn on this.
I like them both, but, give me Brooklyn.
Oh, my God. Jackson Hayes just annihilated that man. That had to be recognized.
I think we buried the marquee clip there.
Nightlife, Brooklyn or New Orleans?
Okay, this one we had to kind of stop down and really talk through because initially you're like, Bourbon Street, New Orleans.
Canal Street, all
that is not sustainable. It's not realistic. Get it out of your fair. If you're popping down there for the national championship before a game like we were and like we were there, perfect. It's a fantastic 2 or 3 nights.
Yes.
and that's it.
That's
all you need. Otherwise, you're in trouble and in debt.
Sustainability is the absolute key to that argument, right? Like, I think when it comes to being able to pop out in Brooklyn on a night, on a Thursday, and you can get you a nice little down tempo, get some drinks, get back to the crib, or you can turn all the way up if you so choose.
Of course.
There is one tempo in New Orleans.
All gas, absolutely no
Zero breaks.
But on the flip side of that, I don't think I'm cool enough to
That
kick
was
it
my
in
thing. I was like, I have to lay low in Brooklyn. I cannot be out here being seen because I'm going to get roasted, and I don't want that for my life. Last thing we're going to talk about the fans. And my initial opinion, I'm not going to rock with any New Orleans fans. I am an Atlanta boy to the day I die. So y'all just going to have to understand it. I'm not rocking with anything New Orleans fans base. But what do you got on this?
I'm going to go New Orleans because it wasn't but less than a decade ago Jay-Z took the team out of New Jersey and put them in Brooklyn. He took them across the bridge. New Orleans has been there through and through. This guy's just learning. See, now these fans right here, day ones. That other guy, he just happened upon them, right? Everybody in Brooklyn is a transplant. Everybody in New Orleans is like, that's what they rock with. That's what they have. So give me the passion of New Orleans fans.
I will give you
the
that.
team is booty.
Yeah, no, the city is wonderful. They are doing the best that they can. They celebrate anything down there, and I don't blame them for it. I love a happy disposition. But yeah, when it comes to Brooklyn, I think you cannot discredit the idea that like anybody that is a fan of Brooklyn, that's usually a part of the cool crowd because their courtside game is like ain't nobody touching that.
Yeah.
Like it's just the hitters 100%. Of hitters.
But like you and I are going to look out of place sitting next to Jay-Z and Beyonce in Brooklyn. It's just not going to work, but like we can get down to the Smoothie King Center.
So you're right. That's for the people.
Anybody can get down to the Smoothie King Center.
Before we call ourselves broke anymore, let's get to this game.
I'm just telling you right now, these brothers look absolutely, positively special.
I did not come to play, I came to dominate.
Kevin Durant historically comes back from injuries so sharp.
Yes, sir, Kevin Durant.
He's the medicine man. He makes the hurt go away.
I feel like Kyrie, I'm so grimy, leave slimy. Besides, know my foes, next to greatest, they look tiny.
Are the Pelicans now sort of Zion's team?
They are becoming Zion's team. This is the version of the Pelicans that shows progress.
I did not come to play, I came to dominate. Dominate.
Oh yeah, that's right. Get lit. Nets versus the Pels. Coming up very shortly, we got Roz going on to talk about this matchup. Roz, Kevin Durant has not been playing since February 13th, and now he is back. How many minutes do you expect him to play tonight?
First of all, I'm so excited that Kevin Durant is back. That is great for anybody who loves NBA basketball. I think the main thing that we should expect to see from the Nets organization is caution. Coach Nash has already said that they're going to be careful. He said you won't see him playing 35 minutes. There's going to be a minutes restriction. If you heard reports perhaps that Kevin looks really good in the gym, he looks like himself, that might be true. But on the other side, keep in mind executives absolutely have to have in the back of their minds back when Kevin was a Warrior and they went up against the Raptors and he came back too soon and he hurt his Achilles. Absolutely, that has to influence the decision making. So again, the key word here is careful. Kevin, in his ramp up to this return, has been focusing on his conditioning, on his ability to maintain stamina. But as we all know, there's nothing like game shape.
Understanding that, right, like until he gets back to fully loaded KD, we see that James Harden is kind of in and out of the lineup with a hamstring as well. So when this falls on Kyrie's shoulders, right, like down the stretch here, how does that play out for the Nets?
You know what? Kyrie looks comfortable. Kyrie, whether it's dropping 40-point games or consecutive double-doubles, I think the main thing, too, is that Kyrie's been able to do this consistently once he's on the court and also efficiently. And I think part of this is, in a way, Kyrie's kind of living his truth. This is the vision that he and KD believed in when they came to Brooklyn. And they're still being successful, even without the big three even playing together. They played 7 games together. And they just added Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. So absolutely, there is the riddle of, will they get enough time to mesh? Not to mention, once James Harden comes back from this hamstring, at minimum, it could be 10 games. You might be 10 days. You might be looking at 16 or so games left, maybe less, for them to all be together. So one thing that Kyrie Irving himself has actually said is he feels the most flexible teams are often the most successful. So hopefully the Nets can not only be flexible, but they're absolutely going to have to bet on and lean on the fact that they're veteran, that they're all-stars, that they're champion, they have championship experience, and hope that can get them over the hump for what they can't make up for in time together.
Hey, Roz, I love this next story because I remember when Isaiah Thomas was the topic of conversation a couple years ago when he was with the Celtics about getting a max contract extension. We obviously know how the career has played out since then. That hip has become a nagging injury. But the Pelicans picked him up on a 10-day contract, and he contributed with 10 points just the other night against the Hawks. Do you anticipate we see the 32-year-old on New Orleans roster past that 10-day initial contract?
I love the way you set that up because I have the same kind of energy and emotion for him. Personally, I'm rooting for him. You know, I hope that it does happen, right? Honestly, but if we understand why he even got the opportunity, it's because of need and desperation for the Pelicans with so many injuries and rotational guard spots to their lineup. So insert Isaiah Thomas, who is hungry, who is out here doing media interviews and saying, I am 102%. That's more than 100%. You know, and I think he has to, you know, say that because he's been away from the game and the league for so long. But the main key was the reason why his comebacks fell short was the pain that he had to tolerate from the hip. He couldn't get past the pain. And he says now he's past that. He feels the best he's ever felt since before the injury. And, you know, I find myself rooting for him. I could see a situation where if the Pelicans felt that they were in real striking distance to make the playoffs, maybe you do keep Isaiah Thomas around because he's still a guy who can ball handle, who can play make, who can provide veteran leadership, and has absolutely shown that he is battle tested and can step up on the biggest of playoff stages.
Couple of things I want to touch on in your answer that we kind of glossed over, like the injury concerns for the Pelicans, right? Brandon Ingram in and out of the lineup, Lonzo Ball just getting back into his true form, and when it comes to that playoff push, what's it going to take for the Pels to kind of get in on that postseason table?
Yeah, first of all, it's super clumped up, you know, at the bottom of the West. So I think, you know, anybody who can get hot and stay healthy has a nice shot. But I will say specifically for the Pelicans, I am concerned about their chances to push into the playoffs simply because you look at their roster and there are a number of key players who are young, who are inexperienced, who are not playoff tested, you know, at the highest levels. And that's tough. And so, like, just to compare, because they are playing the Nets, like the Nets also are heavily disrupted this season. They don't have continuity. Many of them have not played together. But I'm less concerned. Again, that roster is all-stars, veteran, and championship experience. I believe this Pelicans team needs every practice they can get together. They need every game rep that they can get together. And I think all of the injury disruptions have really hurt their ability to capture the flow and the growth that you would have hoped for at this point of the season. So I do think that might make it hard for them to push into the playoffs.
One guy that will be back, we talked about this at the top of your interview, is Kevin Durant. How many points, before we get into your prediction, your game prediction, how many buckets is KD getting tonight?
You know what I will say to this? That's a good question because Kevin actually does come back strong after injuries and comes strong in these big games. I think part of that is because he's a savant, a student. He's been watching. He loves the game. I will bet you this. Kevin makes his first shot of the game. Okay. You know?
Ooh, I'll take that.
Like, remember how he came in?
That makes sense.
I like that.
I think he's really going to set the tone for the game. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember at the beginning of this season in his first game back, didn't he make his first shot just to start the first game back from the Achilles? I mean, this is a guy who's just much better than everyone, period. on top of like, hungry for this moment to get back on the court. I expect him to set the tone and do well in his comeback, and I'm hopeful that that's the case.
That good KD's back energy. KD's back. Okay, so who do you got for your prediction? The Pels, obviously 11th in the West. You talked about how it's very crowded in the West, but obviously Nets at the top of the East. Who do you think is going to win this one?
I'm sorry. What did you say before?
I'm a rapper, Roz. You didn't know I was a rapper.
You're gonna do that and then try to ask me a basketball?
I'm just trying to get back into the.
So wait, you want my pick for the game?
Who do you got? The Nets is second in the East and the Pels at the 11th in the West. Who do you have winning this matchup?
I'm gonna go with KD's back in the neck.
KD's back. All right, thanks so much, Roz.
tripling down on me.
Roz is never coming back. Roz is never coming back. She's never coming back.
She loves me. Thanks, Roz. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
C-Dub, just rap the last 20 seconds. This is you.
I haven't gotten to talk about the fact that you said bag nets.
I live and I learn. I live
World, it doesn't even look like bag nets. I'm so confused. Anyways, who's
and
got in
I
this
learn.
matchup? Gary, you go first.
Everybody knows that I am 0 for the entire season, but today is where I plant my flag. I'm going to get my first dub because the Pelicans are not winning.
Good turn. I'm going with that as well.
All right, we'll see what happens. Pels versus the Nets right now on ESPN. If you're watching on the app, go on and authenticate right here, and we'll see you guys next week.
Man, watch New Orleans. They're going to win. New Orleans is going to mess around and win.
Man.
All right.